What's up, guys? Today we're putting 3 different AI video generators head to head to see which one actually delivers. Every tool is getting the exact same 3 tests: an easy prompt, a medium prompt, and then a really tough one that'll push it to its limits. I'm not going to tell you which tools are in this lineup just yet because I don't want to spoil the surprise. Some of these results are way closer than you'd think, and one of them completely pulls ahead by the end. So don't click off early because the final comparison is definitely the one you'll want to see. If you want to try any of the prompts or resources I'm using, you'll find everything linked in the description. All right, enough talking. Let's jump into the first tool, and that's Arena AI. Just open up your browser, search for Arena AI, click the official website, and sign in with your Google account. Once you're inside, you'll notice there are a bunch of different models and features available. You can always mess around with those later, but for this video, we're keeping the focus on one thing only: video generation. Head over to the top left corner and switch to battle mode. After that, click the video generate icon near the bottom, and we're ready to start testing. We're kicking things off with the easy prompt. I'm using a fluffy corgi wearing a tiny astronaut suit happily walks across the surface of the moon while Earth glows in the background. Cinematic lighting, ultra realistic, smooth camera movement. Go ahead and hit generate. All right, that's actually a pretty nice result. The animation feels smooth, the lighting looks clean, and it followed the prompt better than I expected for something this simple. Now let's turn things up a notch with a medium level prompt. This time I'm using a street food chef cooks fresh tacos during a busy night market in Mexico City. Colorful lights, smoke rising from the grill, realistic handheld camera movement, detailed cinematic style. Hit generate one more time. Honestly, this came out really well too. The environment feels alive, the motion looks natural, and it did a solid job keeping everything consistent throughout the scene. Now for the real challenge. Here's the hardest prompt. A futuristic explorer walks through an abandoned underwater city while glowing sea creatures swim between broken skyscrapers. Sunlight shines through the water. Cinematic tracking shot. Highly detailed, photorealistic, consistent character appearance from start to finish. Let's see what Arena AI can do with this one. Alright, this definitely wasn't perfect. There are a few moments where the consistency falls apart, and some of the details could have been cleaner. But considering how demanding this prompt is, I'd say it still handled itself better than I was expecting. Alright, let's move on to our second AI video generator. And this one's Canva AI. If you want to follow along, just open your browser, search for Canva AI, and click on the official website. Once you log in, you'll see the option that says Try Canva AI. Click on that, then choose the video clip feature. Before we start generating anything, make sure your settings match mine so we're giving every tool a fair shot. Same setup, same prompts, same conditions. That's the only way this comparison actually means something. Alright, everything's ready, so let's see what Canva AI can do. We'll start with the easy prompt first, just like before. I'm using a cheerful golden retriever wearing a raincoat happily runs through colorful autumn leaves in a quiet neighborhood. Cinematic lighting, ultra realistic, smooth camera movement, highly detailed. Go ahead and hit generate. Okay, that's honestly a pretty good start. The visuals look clean, the lighting is nice, and it sticks to the prompt really well. For a simple scene like this, I don't really have much to complain about. Now let's make things a little more challenging with the medium prompt. This time I'm using a talented street musician performs on a busy New York sidewalk at sunset while people naturally walk past, traffic moves in the background, realistic handheld camera, cinematic lighting, highly detailed. Hit generate again. I'd say this one is pretty decent. It gets most of the important details right, and the overall look is solid. That said, some of the movement feels a little awkward here and there, and a few background elements don't stay as consistent as I'd like. Still, it's definitely usable. Alright, now let's throw the hardest prompt at it and see how far it can go. Here's the prompt. A futuristic scientist explores a massive underground laboratory filled with floating holograms, robotic assistants, dynamic camera movement, realistic reflections, cinematic lighting, photorealistic quality, with consistent character details from beginning to end. Let's hit generate one last time. Yeah, this one wasn't really my favorite. It understands the overall concept, but once the scene gets more complicated, you can definitely tell it's struggling. The consistency starts to slip, some objects change unexpectedly, and the motion just doesn't feel as polished as the earlier generations. It's not terrible, but compared to what we've seen so far, I was expecting a little more. Alright, we've made it to the final tool, and this one's Flow AI. So far we've seen what the other two can do, but now it's time to find out if this one can actually take the top spot. Just log into your account, head over to the main dashboard, and you're good to go. We'll keep everything exactly the same as before, before, so the comparison stays fair. Same prompt structure, same settings, no shortcuts. Let's jump into the first test and see how it handles it. We're starting with the easy prompt. This time I'm using a happy little red panda rides a bicycle through a colorful spring park while flower petals float through the air, cinematic lighting, ultra realistic, smooth tracking shot, highly detailed. Go ahead and hit generate. Okay, yeah, this looks really good. Right away you can tell the motion feels smoother, the lighting is more natural, and the whole scene just has a polished look. Definitely the strongest easy result we've seen so far. Now let's move on to the medium prompt. I'm using a wildlife photographer carefully walks through an African safari at sunrise while elephants cross a river in the background. Realistic camera movement, cinematic composition, ultra detailed, photorealistic. Hit generate again. All right, this is seriously impressive. The character stays consistent, the environment feels alive, and even the smaller background details hold together really well. Compared to the previous tools, this one just feels a lot more stable from beginning to end. Now it's time for the hardest challenge. Here's the prompt. A futuristic rescue pilot flies through a massive cyberpunk city during a thunderstorm while hundreds of flying vehicles move around glowing skyscrapers. Dynamic cinematic drone shots, realistic reflections, volumetric lighting, photorealistic quality, consistent character appearance throughout the entire sequence. Let's hit generate and see what happens. Wow, yeah, this is easily the best result of the entire video. It handled the complex scene surprisingly well. The motion stays smooth, the lighting looks great, and most importantly, it keeps everything consistent even with so much happening on screen. That's something the other tools struggled with. So after testing all three side by side, my personal winner is definitely Flow AI. It was the most consistent across all three difficulty levels, and once the prompts got more demanding, it really started pulling ahead. But that's just my opinion. I want to know what you think. Which tool would you actually use after seeing these results? Drop your pick down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.